Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a hip-hop solo independent artist who is absolutely amazing, and I absolutely love him. He is also one of my biggest supporters. Please welcome Vizualye. Hello, Viz!
Hey, Ali, how are you?
I am awesome. How are you?
Good. So great to be on the show today. As you know, I follow your show, and I've seen, many artists that are on there, and I'm just fascinated with you and how you, give this opportunity to a lot of not just indie artists, but anybody doing anything, that is reaching for their dreams, and that part of it just, I'm just astonished by it. So I'm very excited to be on.
Wow. Okay, thank you, Viz. That was very nice of you. This is a passion, and I was in radio for 18 years, and we weren't allowed to play indie artists. They had to be like big, huge stars. So I get to now, like, not only discover all this great music, I get to actually talk to the people that make it and hear their journeys, and that's like, I love it. I mean, it's I can't even put it into words, but thank you so much, and thank you so much for always retweeting my tweets and being such a huge supporter. It means very, very much to me. Okay, let's talk about you now. Now that we've talked about me, which I wasn't expecting at all. So you emerged on the music scene in 2014, and your music, Viz, is I love it. I absolutely love it. But tell me, like, when did you get started? Like, when did you decide this is what you were gonna do?
Well, that's a good question because I've actually always been a writer. I love English classes. I in like poetry. So, writing to me comes natural. And back when I was in high school, my first performance ever, my brother was going to college, and he had like his college was doing a showcase, a talent show, and he mentioned to me, hey, do you want to go do this thing? You can get up on stage and perform. And I had been writing, but I never really performed. So I would just write and kind of just keep things, in my little notebook or whatever. But that was my first time really getting a real genuine feel for music, and it was crazy because so many people like that I didn't know, they loved it. It was like, that's your brother, and he was coming home and telling me about people who were saying, and I was like, from that point I think I really knew that I wanted to do this, like music. It's been a couple of years after that I was finishing high school and entering in college. So, I always kept writing, but I haven't really been back in the music scene as far as like getting myself out there and performing, because I didn't really know like the structure or the business side of it, and I was really naive. So, I just kept writing, and I did some things online as far as, back then they had little groups and people were putting out there like songs and stuff like that. So, there's a story that came along. I was working, and I met this girl who had a SoundCloud, and back then I didn't really know what SoundCloud was, and I really didn't pay it attention. And so later on, she was telling me about it and telling me how you could put your music on and do this, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But, later on, I think it was like 2 or 3 years later, I started seeing how, good SoundCloud was, and I was like, oh, wow. And so I got into it that way. And so around the time I started doing more of putting myself out there, not really, like I said, not the business side of it, but just kind of, sort of networking. It wasn't really real networking because, I didn't really connect with, people that were really doing things. They were just like in little groups and here and there, like kind of sharing my music. So back when MySpace was out, I had a couple of songs I think I was in like 2008 or 9. I had a couple of songs on there, but they weren't really like getting any attention like now. But yeah, I've just been experimenting and kind of like kept to it. And
Well,
so,
thank God you have.
yeah, I mean, it's been a great experience because, you know, the technology and how things are done, you know, today, you know, kind of like, I'm like, wow, you know how you kind of like wish that it was available back then, you know, how things are now, because I know so much. But, I mean, yeah, I've been just kind of keeping it like low key, I guess to say, and just keeping at it, doing it, but not really getting fully into it. And so it was in like 2013 that 2013, 12 that I really, you know, took on like that full responsibility and saying that, you know, I'm gonna push this out. I'm gonna really do it, because, you know, I'm doing it all the time. I just have never stepped into, you know, the music on a business, stepping on like the networking and all those other things. So, you know, I took it on back in like 2012. Started going to studios and recording better, you know, getting quality music, and so I started feeling like a lot better about what I was doing, and more social platforms were coming on. So I was kind of putting my music in there. There was a platform called not SoundCloud, SoundView, something like that. And in there, when they were like offering you can sell your music and you can build your fan base up and like all these things that, you know, what you have now, they were kind of doing at the early stages. So, you know, I got a little bit involved in that. I started getting more ears and people listening. And so it, you know, it kept me to going forward. And yeah, like I got into the SoundCloud and, you know, Reverb Nation, like those type of sites, and they really work well for me, because by then, you know, I've been always like working on my music, but I'm now like putting it out there. And so, you know, around that time, like 2013, between 2013 and 14, I got discovered by this agency. I thought they were a label at first, and they're called Peyton Music Group, and they come from like a book, because they have a book network where they publish books and things like that. So they stemmed that off of doing music. They went into music. So I got something from them, and they was telling me that, you know, we can provide you with like the tools and opportunity to get your music really out there and put together an album. And I was like, wow, I was so excited. And it took like a year to actually put the album together, because they had in-house production, and so you know, we were going back and forth with they're located in Ohio, and
and
we were going back and forth with.
You're in Northern Virginia, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
But we were going back and forth with the production as far as the beats and things like that, and what I can write to, and it kind of didn't have like my style, like production wise, so it was really hard for me. So they offered me to go out and you know, do it on my own, like get the beats and production, and I can do that. Then to get it mixed and mastered, just send it to them. So I ended up doing that. So I had to kind of save up and, you know, get everything ready. So you know, that whole process took about a year. But, you know, Ali, I was so excited because, you know, at first, like, felt like a record deal, because they're putting the album together, and they, you know, I thought they was going to do so many other things. But, you know, the time rolled around when they released the album. And this is also saying that I was, you know, pretty naive, because I didn't know, like, the promotion. Like, I kind of left it up to them. Like, you know, they was like, okay, you have to put, you know, your stuff out and, you know, just kind of go on your own. So when I figured that out, I was, you know, this was like after the album had been released, and, you know, it wasn't really getting a lot of
attention.
You know, attention.
Yeah.
And it kind of like fell back.
Well,
But
but it is now. I mean, and the album we're talking about, it's your first official album. It's called it's called Legends in Music. Um, and
yeah,
then you've also since then released a mixtape in the same year titled No Introduction, and it was released on Dat Piff.
yeah.
And
Um,
it's
it was kind of crazy those 2 times because I actually had the album out before, and
mm-hmm.
then I put the mixtape out like maybe a week or two from releasing the album. But because I didn't know like promotion wise and stuff like that, I
Mm-hmm.
kind of the album was kind of sitting, and then the promotion for the Dat Pip I did a little bit, but not like heavy promotion thing because there was a lot of spending and putting money into it, and so I wasn't financially set up like that to really get the best
Yeah.
um, efforts out of it.
Yeah.
So those things kind of clash together.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it takes a while, and I mean, like, the majority of independent artists have a full-time job because, I mean, you're not making a lot of money being an independent artist. Now, you've also managed to collaborate with several other independent artists, and it's been some of your best work. Now, tracks such as People's Choice and No Way helped set the tone for the release of the album Legends in Music. Now, talk about who you've worked with.
Well, on the official album, like the Legends of Music, it was actually just all me.
Mm-hmm.
But on and this is a different thing. I like the mixtape more because I thought I was more involved in it. And it kind of came right a little bit after the album. And so with that album, the mixtape, I had been working with some people, in the on the internet and kind of made some connections, just networking. I met a lot of people, early on, and then, I just continue to build up like relationships and network. And so it's really been the thing that really kept me, I guess to say, like afloat because here I'm doing some different things and working with other artists and kind of adding some different sounds so that people
People
I don't
like
know
it.
when you don't really make it, you're not really big.
Yeah.
I think it's the kind of thing that if people keep hearing you, and they kind of want something different. So for me, it was kind of getting involved with like because we're all out there pretty much with the same goals. That's to some people just to really make it, and then there's some people that want to get signed. So there's different ways like to be successful.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
I'm really into the indie thing now. Like before, like if you would ask me like 2 years, 3 years, like in 2014, I would have been like, yeah, I want to get signed. But now since I've been like on my own and just doing things, I'm more indie, and I want to stay indie artist.
Well, you
But
have
I
more
just want to be
control. Yeah.
successful indie artist.
Yeah, and you are. Now, what other artists have you worked with though, Viz?
I've worked with Bronx Bomber. Um, he has his own company label. I haven't done recent work with him, but back in like 2014, 15, I've done a lot of work with him. I've worked with producers such as Super Pro Louie. There's another producer called Too Nice. Um, and I've worked with, on the recent stuff, I've worked with not Tate Legend, but I've worked with artists such as Warren Young, who
Mm-hmm.
I discovered him online, and Jay Schick is another artist. He's on my recent song that I have, Hunger Games, and he has his own kind of company. He's very independent, so he has his own kind of company and clothing line and things like that. So he's a lot of these artists are pretty much they're their own success story, so they're doing things on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the kind of artists that I have been working with.
That is awesome. So following your debut album, there has been a follow-up single releases um, to your upcoming album, The Awakening, and such as like Woman's Worth and Unbelievable. And let me tell you, I absolutely love Unbelievable, like love it. and it's your latest release. Now, it's been almost 2 years since anybody's heard of a new album coming from you. I mean, but your presence is everywhere, Viz, especially on Twitter, and the support you show other indie music artists is unbelievable. And I'm so glad that they are giving that back to you. And you're doing really well networking, so you're doing really well. um, Now, from hearing the first two singles released from the upcoming album, um, it's only going to give more hope that the awakening will be well worth the wait, which it's going to be. Now, also, let's talk about what you're doing for independent artists, never mind the support you give them. You're currently working on the album that's going to be a donation based album, and you're placing it on your personal website and boot camp. Talk a bit about that and what it's supposed to do.
Oh wow, yeah. Definitely seen a vision. I came into contact with Music Coins, which is they're like a social platform for music artists, and they actually pay the artists for their streams. And the way they do it is that you just get your fans or listeners can stream your music. You'll earn from them streaming, and they can also, which I thought was really cool, donate. So it's like a virtual currency, but it transfers to U.S. dollars. So you can basically, somebody can actually support your album, and that's why I created this project, is that they can actually support your next album or whatever it is, your venture, or your project, just by listening and supporting your music. And I wanted to go that route because I know that some people, when you're doing like donations or fundraising and those type of things, can be it depends on your financial position and what you can do. So I didn't want it to be something where people felt that they couldn't give when they want to give. You know how you like, if I had to give it to you, I would. And so this way encourages people to just, if you really want to support, just go listen to the songs, and you can make a virtual donation that will transfer over into the account as the artist can earn. And it costs the user, the listeners, the fans nothing just to support. So I mean, I thought that was like the greatest way to really show support of an artist, and the fans are really if they really enjoy your music, then they'll do that, and you can do it more than once. I mean, it's not like you can only listen once. You can listen as many times as you want. Go to the site, you can share it. So I created the project around that, and kind of getting the word out there. So I think it's more just spreading the awareness, and when people find out that they're like, oh, okay, cool. Even if they're not really a fan yet, if they listen and they do like it, they can support it.
Yeah.
So it gives them like that option.
That is cool.
Also, what I've been doing as far as like helping like networking with other artists is that I see so many of the independent artists that I've come across that are doing some amazing things, and I felt that it's good for me as an artist to be putting my stuff out there, but I feel like it's more rewarding when get to know the artist and then see the things that they're doing and like lend support, not just like for a week or a month or two, like a solid relationship where you build and see the things that they do next, and you kind of following what they do. Because I'm really a fan, like
you are
music myself.
Yeah.
So it's in my nature to when I see other artists or whatever and see what's going on with them and check out their music and stuff like that. You did a interview with Danielle, and I'm a big supporter of her.
She's amazing.
Like, all over the place. And when I heard the story and everything, so it brought me in like a little bit more, knowing the background, knowing more about it, and that's like, that's the kind of thing that I look for. I try to make connections with other artists and beyond the music and things like that, so that it's really a solid relationship and support.
Yeah.
Pretty much is strong.
And I love that you listen to my interviews, and like you say, you're discovering artists. And the one thing I love about the indie platform is it's so small, but it's huge, but it's small. And what I mean is, The small part I'm talking about is it's like your neighbor, or it's like a friend. Everybody helps everybody, and it just blows me away. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. Talk about WoW.
Oh yeah, definitely, Ali. So WoW is this new platform that I'm on, and basically what they do is it's like a messaging app, like WhatsApp, but they share 70% of their revenue with their users. So if you are on there and you're communicating with somebody, you're earning these coins, virtual coins, which translates over to dollars. But it's one wild coin equals 1 cent. So you can earn. There's plenty of ways to earn because they have things like you can make phone calls, you can do video, you can post links in there when you text or like anything you do that you're doing now out in these other social media platforms, you do them there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're earning for it. And so you can create groups, and within your groups, you can kind of build whatever goal that you're looking to do. So one of the things that I'm doing now is I have a group in there, and I have a bunch of I'm recruiting like a bunch of artists that want to create the success that they want to have. Because if you use this platform the way it's designed, you're able to generate more for yourself, and then when you bring other people in, they can do the same thing. So you're doing that same thing for others, so that they benefit from it too.
That is
And there's some
awesome.
amazing people because it's global,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like in the UK and in Ghana and so many, and people have businesses and they know a lot of things, so they're it's kind of a sharing information and sharing economy. It's pretty great. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, definitely. That sounds awesome. Okay, so you're working on your new album and you're hoping to release it in 2018. Now, that all depends on how your support campaign goes. So I'm urging everybody, however you can, help Viz get his album out. Please do so. This is an artist that needs to be heard. His music is unbelievable. When I listen to Viz, you sound like you've been doing this for years. Like you're just it's so polished, and it's so I just absolutely love it. And like I said, unbelievable. I listened to and listened to and listen, and I still do because I absolutely love the song. Um, Now, because you're doing this, I mean, you've kind of basically given us all kind of an idea of what kind of, advice you would give anybody. But is there any other advice besides, telling people to get out there and share their stuff and talk about Musicoin and WoW? Is there anything else you would say to them, Viz?
Yeah, definitely. What I say as advice, for me personally, is that we all like it, especially if you're an artist, you have the opportunity to create whatever goal or whatever that you set your mind to, and the way technology is now, like you can pretty much do anything and get that success. So I would urge people, especially artists, to stay stay doing your craft, stay doing your music, and be creative with it. Just go out there, find different ways that you can come across people or communicate or network, because the possibilities are endless, and you can do so much in this industry now. So I definitely say just stick to your music and just find a way and be creative with it, and get yourself out there.
That's awesome. That's great advice. Um, I look forward to seeing your tweets every day, just so you know. You make me smile. I am
Thank you,
so,
Ali.
you're welcome. I'm so glad that, we kind of found each other. And anytime anything new happens or your album gets done or anything, Viz, you can always come back on. Um, Operation Neptune Spear, what they're doing is every time they release a new single, they're sending it to me. And I've had a couple of other artists do that. And I throw it up on my Allie's Odds and Ends on my website, and I help
Mhm.
promote them. So if you ever want to do that, that's available to you. And let me know how this Musicoin and WoW is progressing, because I want to, like, I mean, if it's going to really, really help artists, I want to help you support that as well. So keep me updated on that. Keep me updated on your support campaign. I want to know how that's going, because I will retweet. Like I want your album out. It needs to be heard. It needs to be out. Um, Now, what two songs are we going to hear from you?
The two songs are the most recent ones I had out, and that is Hunger Games featuring Jay Shit and Unbelievable featuring Warren Young. And like you said, I love those songs too, because when those songs came out is when I really knew that, I had something like really there. So, I mean, I know I've been putting out a lot of music, but, as artists, we always kind of our own critical judges or whatever. But yeah, I love those songs too. So definitely, those are the ones that are going to be available.
Yeah, and Unbelievable, like I said, is unbelievable. I know that was corny as hell, but no, it's really, really good. I absolutely love it. And just so you know, my 13-year-old grandson, anytime there's kind of R&B, rap, anything like that, he's like, "Can I hear?" And he listened to both of your songs, and he is a fan. He absolutely loves you. I think he's following you now. I don't even know where, but yeah, he loves you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and he listens to a lot of R&B and rap, so that gives you a good idea of how good you are that he loves you. Now, your music's available online and also your website. Now, your website's super long. It's a Wix site. Everybody knows that when you build your website by yourself and you use Wix, you get a big, huge, long title. Yours is visualye2446.wixsite.com/my site. Now, I'm going to make it really easy for everybody. When you're up on my website, all they have to do is click on it, and it's going to go directly to your website. And they'll be able to discover all of your music. They'll learn more about you. And I urge everybody, follow Viz on Twitter and every other social media platform he's on. He is the sweetest, kindest man I've ever come across. And like I said, he supports all artists, and I'm his biggest fan, and he always retweets my stuff or tells me how much he loves my stuff, and it's just amazing. And I don't know what I would do without your words of encouragement, Viz, because it means a lot to me. So I want to say thank you so much for doing that, and hopefully one day we'll be able to get, together. Hopefully you come to Canada. That would be awesome.
Hey, it's possible, and I definitely appreciate your support, Ali, and having this platform for artists. And you yourself are pretty amazing. Like, when I first heard of you and discovered you and then seeing what you were doing and, following your work, I was motivated. And it's just like, it's a thing for me to, when I make connections and when I see people doing good and I see people doing these great things, it's important for me to stay on top of it and just be a supporter myself. So I want to commend you on all the support and the helping the lives that you change of artists and other people, just, doing what you do. So thank you so much, Miss. It was a pleasure meeting you, Ali, and I know we'll be talking more on Twitter or
or wherever. You actually, okay, you made me.
It was definitely a pleasure.
Oh, Viz, it was mine. You made me tear up. Thank you. Those words were like so amazing. Thank you. That gives you an idea of what kind of man Viz is. He's, like I said, he's amazing. Viz, thank you. First off, Viz was going to be on last week, and I kind of fell down my basement stairs and had to go to the hospital. And he was kind enough to reschedule and come on today. And you were one of the ones that I have been looking forward to talking to for a long time. So I'm so glad that you were understanding about my clumsiness and rescheduled to today. And when this gets up there, I know there's going to be so many people that retweet this conversation because you do it for them. And I can't wait to see. So Viz, thank you so much for coming on my show. You have no idea how much I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ali, and I hope that the rest of your week is just successful, and just keep doing what you're doing. I love your show, and I love you too.
I love you, Viz. And thank you for joining me on Ali's Attic. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. Cheers.